Right, today I'm going to show you how to do a Z-fold pop-up box card. Folds flat for posting. Now I made one of these at Christmas time. I had a lot of people asking me how do you make them, and I've only just now managed to get round to doing a video tutorial for you. It's a very easy card to do. As you can see with this one, I've done a mail card and I've used the first edition Perfect Illusion papers for the background, and then just use gold, various different gold cards for the cogs. Acetate. The car is done out of first edition Wild at Heart papers, and all the dies are first edition dies. So that's the shape of the card. We're going to do a slightly different card with a Paris theme to it for the actual card, but this is the shape that we're going to be doing. So what you need for this card is you will need, find all my pieces. You will need 2 pieces of card for your base section. Now I have gone for the width of an A4, so not the length, the width, the shortest bit. It's about 8 inches, a bit over 8 inches. 2 of those, and I've done them 3 inches deep. Okay. Now both of those you want to fold in half. Like that. Fold both your pieces of card in half, and then you want to fold the front, so you've got your card both the same way round. You want to fold the front section back on itself in half. Like that. Same with this one. Okay. So you end up with 2 kind of zigzaggy shaped pieces. Then what you want to do is taking some tape. You want to put tape over here and over here. Turn mine round so I can put tape on this section here. It's best to use tape rather than wet glue because you want it to stick straight away. So that's the first one. The same on the second one. There we go. Right, now if you have them both the same way round, and what you want to do is you want to pick one of them up and flip it horizontally. Is that right, horizontally? Yes. You want to flip it from left to right, so it's like that. So you've basically got the mirror image of each other, if you see what I mean. Well, not mirror image. You know what I mean. You flip it anyway. Then what you want to do is peel off one of the lots of tape on one of the cards. And you want to line this edge up with this edge. Get it nice and straight. When you're happy it's straight, you press down and stick the side that's sticky. Now what should happen, I'm hoping you can see that, is that where your 2 folded pieces are, they meet in the middle perfectly, like that. Because obviously this distance should be the same as that distance. So that's what you want to do. Then flip that back and take the tape off this other piece. There we go. And then holding these 2 pieces flat, you want to flap this bit down to stick it down. There we go. And so that is basically the base of your pop-up box card. Right, now what you want to do is take your paper. Now I'm going to be using, she says picking up too much, Dovecraft Nature's Grace papers. Lovely papers, really nice. Sort of mustard, purple, greys, blacks, birds, butterflies, roses, flowers, bird cages, just the really nice papers. So we're going to be using these papers. I've already cut myself down 2 of the kind of mustard colour, mustard yellow, and I've made them so they're the right height. I'm just going to make them so they're the right width now. And we're going to mat and layer those onto our card. So there, you can measure it, but I quite like doing this because I know that it definitely is going to fit on my card, just in case your fold isn't quite right. So that's that bit. Let's just cut that bit down, and then we'll cut the other piece to fit. Right. Hoping you can see everything that I'm doing. Right, so that's that piece. That's that and that. And then we just need to do one more piece for this bit here. One more piece for this bit here. So let's flip that. Put that in there. And then that needs to go to here. Let's just cut that down. There we go. So that's going to go in there. Right, so let's stick those pieces down. I'm going to use Yoo-Hoo to mat and layer. Could use double-sided tape if you want to. You can use whatever you want really here. I usually go for Yoo-Hoo when I'm mat and layering just because I find it easier to use, and also you've got a bit of wiggle room. So if you don't get it down in the right place to start with, you've got time to manoeuvre it around. That's going to go there. Then this piece. That bit there. And then, oh sorry, didn't mean to do that. Just move this bit of paper out of the way. The card knife, more light on the old desk. Right. Hopefully you can still see me. Here we go. And that goes on the end here. Right. Once you've stuck your panels down, you're obviously ready to decorate. Now obviously in the middle you're going to have little slats like you do on a pop-up box card. So I have already cut out 2 little pieces. These are good if you've got offcuts. This is what this is, an offcut. And so you need to cut them. Basically if you use the same measurements I'm using, then your middle piece should be 2 inches. From here to here should be 2 inches. In which case you want to cut your little strips down to 3 inches. And then what you want to do is taking a scorer, so they need to be 3 inches in length, and the width, well, I mean you can do anything really. I've done mine 2 centimetres. I know I'm mixing my centimetres and inches, but I do tend to do that sometimes. And then what you want to do is you just want to score 1/2 inch either side, because these are going to be your little tabs that are going to stick onto your inside your box card. So you want to end up with that. So the same here. Here we go. So you end up with 2 little strips like that. And then you just need to shape them. So you want to fold 1 tab one way and 1 tab the other way, so you almost end up like a S shape, like that. You can do that with both of them. There we go. Now we're going to stick them inside. Now this is the only bit that I find really quite tricky, I have to say. The rest of it is very easy, but I do find that it's a little bit tricky. There is a little bit of a knack to it, but I do struggle a bit sometimes. It doesn't always go perfectly. Now, as you can see, my tape's gone over, but that's fine because I'm just going to fold it back on itself. Just stick it down. Right, so that's that side. I'm going to peel this side off as well. Right, now we bring our card back into position. I'm hoping you can see this. So what I do is, with the card, it's going to be folded flat in the envelope like that. So because it's going to be folded flat like that, you want your flaps, your little tabby things, to be like that in the envelope. You don't want them to be all squashed up. So because of that, I'm going to stick it in this way round. If you can, I'm hoping you can see that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to stick one side, fold it flat in order to stick the other side. Okay, it sometimes works, not always. My main problem is getting it straight. Right, so to there. In fact, you can actually eye it. If you use your grid, I hope my head's not in the way. You can actually eye it. That's probably a bit too far back, but anyway. There we go, never mind. So when you fold it flat, yeah, it should fold flat. You see? So we're going to do the same with this one. Off. Pull this excess one back. Right, bring this back in again. Now then, this needs to go. I think I'm going to be governed by the one at the back. Now obviously with it being black card, it's not very easy to see probably on the video. Hopefully it'll come out, but I don't know. There we go. Right, so can you see I've got the two little tabs in there. As I said, they're not completely evenly spaced, but they'll do. So now what we're going to do is, I've already die cut my pieces out for this card. So I've already die cut Happy Birthday using a first edition birthday die. I've already die cut some little borders, which again are first edition border dies. They come as the long one, but I don't need all of it, so I've just made them. I'm going to be cutting that up in a minute as well. So move that over. A little Dovecraft bicycle die, which I thought was quite sweet. We've also got the Paris. Now this was one of the first dies that they brought out. It was a first edition. Was it first edition? I don't know if it was first edition actually. It might have been Dovecraft. Sweet Paris it was called. And you had the frame, the little Eiffel Tower, then this, which obviously just nicely fits over the top. And also it had like a Paris as well, Paris sentiment. We're not going to use the Paris sentiment, we're just going to use these three. And I also need a bit of acetate, obviously, without the bits would be nice. So I'm going to start by sticking my frame onto my acetate. Now one little trick that I love doing, and I've mentioned it before in other videos, is before you do a die cut, if you get your, so say for example I was going to die cut this card, if you get your card and you turn it over and you put double-sided tape just on the back of your card, turn it back again and put your die on and run it through your die cutting machine, you end up with a die cut that is sticky on the back. So as you can see with this frame, I've actually laid it onto my card, the die onto my card, and then I've just kind of cut so it's about the right size, and then just put tape top, bottom, left and right. So that means now that's a sticky frame, so I can stick that straight onto my acetate and not have to worry about messy glue. So that's what I'm going to do now. So we're going to take the backing off here. Sometimes it can be a bit fiddly. I mean, those borders that I've done, they're going to be very fiddly to peel the backing off. But then you see, if you use glue, it would be fiddly. You could use a Xyron, but again, if you use a Xyron, I wouldn't be able to fit this through my Xyron because it's too big for my Xyron. The borders I could probably fit through the Xyron, but the problem again is sometimes you end up with glue strings. So whatever you use, you're always going to end up with some kind of hitch. But I find this the best way. Right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to, oh, I've just gone over slightly there, but I think I can get away with that. Is we're going to cut up the frame. Now because I've stuck it with tape, I'm just going to ease it slightly so I can kind of cut underneath. Because I don't want to cut the die cut, I want to cut the acetate as close as I can underneath. Like that. And the same on this side. Like that. So I don't know if you can see that. I've now got a frame mounted onto some acetate. Now what I need to do is I want to put that frame at the back so it stands up like that. So this acetate is a bit too big. So what I'm going to do, in fact, let me yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the acetate to, I think it was this section here. Let's have a look. Yeah, so where that is and where that is, that little nick, that's about the width of my box card. So we're going to come up here and we're going to cut around here. I'm going to come up here and we're going to cut. Oh, sorry. And there. Try not to cut into your frame. Okay. Because then that is going to stick in there at the back and stand up. So we're going to mount that in now. Going to use some double-sided tape, which you sort of can see a little bit, but once you put everything in, it's kind of okay. There we go. Now you need to just make sure this goes in straight. Famous last words. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to try and do it like this, hoping I don't get my head in. Actually, I'll zip it off a bit. Hope you guys can still see what I'm doing here. You'll see in a minute if not. I want to get it straight. Oh, come on. About there, I think. Oh, that's not quite straight. I do like things straight. There. There we go. Now why has that gone wonky? It was straight a minute ago and now it's gone wonky again. Bear with me. So I've used tissue tape. You can, be careful, peel it off very gently. Put it back on again. It's because I'm trying to juggle with the camera and look at the same time, so I'm struggling a little bit here. Just bear with me a second. I do want to get it straight. There we go, right. Now then, I don't understand why it went in okay, and then it ends up wonky. Right, there we go, that is definitely straight. Well, no it's not, but it'll do. It'll do. Right, so anyway, so that's that. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to stick my Eiffel Tower so that it goes there. So basically this bit, again, what I've done with this die is when I put it in the die cutting machine, I deliberately did it so that I knew where the line was. So I knew where to put the tape, so this bit's not sticky, but these two bits are. So I'm going to stick that bit to the tab. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to attach it to acetate. That's what I'm going to do. Attach it to acetate, and then it's going to stick to the tab. Because I want it to be up. I want it to be up like there. Because otherwise, you're not going to see the little pathway. So I need to get a bit more acetate. Now I tend to use. You can either buy obviously packs of acetate, but I like using the packaging that dies come out of. Because it's quite good quality acetate. It's nice and thick. And it does the job. So I'm going to attach my Eiffel Tower to the top there, and then I'm going to cut round to make it fit with a little tab at the bottom to stick it in. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but you'll see in a minute what I mean. Hoping you guys can still see what I'm doing. Right. So I'm going to stick that to there, like that, and now I'm going to cut round and down and across. It's a bit uneven, but it doesn't matter because it's acetate. You're not, you're really just not going to see it. So. There we go. So you end up with basically that. So that's going to sit in there. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to put tape on this bottom bit here. Just going to check you can still see what I can see. Yeah, that's good. Right. Right, so tape here. And a bit of tape just there. There we go. And then we're going to stick Paris in. Paris? Eiffel Tower. Again, trying to make it in straight. The cogs were a lot easier because you don't have to worry about getting cogs straight. I'm going to need to do this upright, I'm afraid, everybody. I'm sorry. I'll sort of upright. I don't want a wonky Eiffel Tower. Right, there we go, that works. Then we're going to do the same with the front part. So I'm going to get my acetate back. Again, I've done the same with this one, so the trees aren't sticky but the bit below is. So we're going to peel off the tape. The backing, not the tape. We're going to peel off the backing like that, and then we're going to stick it down onto our acetate like that, and then we're going to cut round and down, trying not to cut not to cut the die cut at the same time. There we go, she's got another little tab. So again we want to put a bit of tape on the bottom of that acetate tab. The cogs were a lot easier on the other card to do, so I'm going to worry about being straight, but they did take a long time to cut out, whereas this probably took less time to cut out. Right, and then that needs to go in the front section. So, try and get this. There we go. Let's make my tree. Okay, so that's that. Now what I want to do is I want to decorate the front. So I've cut out, as I said, this border die. And what I'm going to do is, I think that 4, I want it to come down, I want to have it along there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, is that a 5? Oh, that fits perfect. There we go. That's going to go there. So I'm just going to peel off the backing, and as I said, this is not going to be easy, okay? This is going to be a bit fiddly. But I find if you use a poker tool, you can just kind of slide the backing off. It depends on your tape. This tape's very good for doing that with. But you can just kind of coax it to come off the edge. Do the fiddly bits first, and then we'll do the long strip along the top. And as I said, it is a bit fiddly, but it's not nearly as fiddly as trying to put glue on this. It's so fine. There we go. Right, turn that over. Get our card, stick it on. There we go. It's not completely central, but it'll do. It's one of those days today. It's one of those not quite centre days today. If I try and take that off and reposition it, it'll end in tears, so I'm not going to. Right, this one here, now down the side here, I think twos. Yeah. So I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm just going to snip up there. Oh, there's one lot of two. And then we're going to do the same with this one. I'll switch my light on because it's getting a bit dark. It's going to snow again. The beast from the east is coming in. Right, there we go. So, let's just peel off our little bits in. There we go. And then pull up the backing for the rest. Like that. And I'm going to try and hold it in the middle again. No, I can't really flatten it, but flatten it as best I can. Try and stick this down. There we go. And then same with this one. These bits of backing everywhere. It's stuck all over my sleeve. And again, I hope you can see what I'm doing here. Not really sure where my camera's aimed, but I think you can see. Alright, take all the bits off. And take the long bit off. And then this is going to go in here. There we go. So that's my frilly bit. Now I'm going to put a bicycle on the front. I'm going to put it, I'm not going to do it central. I might put it, yeah, just off to the left, I think. So again, I've put tape on the back before I cut it. Just makes it a lot easier now. Card. Position that there. Like that. And then on the other side, I quite like the way the banner was coming off, so I'm going to have a banner sticking out the side there. But what I want to do is I want to stick it onto, because it's purple and obviously I've got a lot of black, I'm going to stick it onto a black card. I'm hoping that means that the letters will show up, but we'll see. And once again, I've stuck the backing on, I've picked the letters out. I've actually picked the letters out and put them onto another piece of card, so I can use that on another greeting on another card. Right, let's take the backing off here. And then we're going to stick that onto here. Give it a black border, actually. Thinking about it. Like that. And then we just need to do another, just cut round the edge, the excess off, to make it fit. So, I'm going to use a Stanley knife and a metal rule for this, because I don't really rate my chances on the trimmer. There we go. And then I'm going to use scissors just for this bit here. There we go. Now that just needs mounting on to my card. Now I used foam tape on the last one. I'm going to use that again because I just like, obviously it needs to fold flat, but I just like the way it just stands out a little bit more, pops off the card a bit more. So I'm going to use just some foam tape. I'm going to put my Happy Birthday on, flip it over and draw a line, and then I know like where I need to, I don't know if you can see the pencil, you know where you need to go up to. And I'm just going to stick 2 pieces on. I'm going to come slightly shy of that line just to make sure, make room for any error of judgment. There we go, as you can see my line's actually here, but I've just come in a bit. It's fine, it's enough because it's going to hold it, and with it being tape you've pretty much covered the whole area. And then you take your card and you stick it down like that. There we go. And then all we need now is a bit of bling, and then we're done. So I'm going to quickly find some bling to do that with. She says, desperately thinking, where is my bling? Here it is. Right. That would be nice. And these aren't self-adhesive, so I'm going to use a little bit of glue and a pair of tweezers. Right, I need, that's high enough, I don't know if you can see that. Right, so these are going to go, I've got glue in here, just in there I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully my glue will dry. I've gone a bit overboard with the glue, I have to say, but there we go, that's what came out, so there we go. 3, 4. I do like this border die, I really do. It's very ornate and perfect for a Paris card. Right. Just trying to get them to turn over, isn't it? There we go. My phone's going off left, right and centre. I apologise for that. Should find out who that is in a minute. Right, there we go. And I think that's probably it, to be honest with you. I don't think I need much more on that. I think I'm happy with that one. So there you go. I'll switch this light off again now, because I think you can probably see it better if I switch the light off. So there we go. There's the Sweet Paris box card, and obviously that folds flat. I'm not going to fold it flat because my jewels aren't completely stuck down, but there you go. So that's how you do a pop-up box card. So they're not as difficult as they look. The decoration is the bit that's fiddly, I find. But yeah, have a look. As I say, have a look on the Trimcraft page, and also on my blog, which is www.iced-images.blogspot.co.uk. I think that's right. Have a look on there. If not, have a look on. I'll put it in the description for this video. That'll be easier. And happy crafting. Hope you have a go.